That's more like it. A big Rover in the yard. Just what you've always wanted. No German stuff today, just a long pencil-like 800 Sterling. Looks like it might have been owned by Tony Blair. He did own one, by the way. Back when our leaders and monarchy used to be proud to drive a British car. Even though it's mostly Japanese, it's still a Rover, and it's a nice Rover. Just look at it. It's almost completely immaculate, like a new car, except it's not new, is it? Because it is on an R plate. That makes this from 1997, 29 years old, and this great big wedge of a British motor is for sale. So where is he? Where's that man? Where's the man with the funny voice? Where's the man who shouts at me like he's Jack Russell? Well, he's not here, because for a change, I'm doing a sales video for somebody else. The facelift Rover 800 is much like the non-facelift Rover 800.
In fact, it's the Mark II.
This one came out in 1992, and they made it ever so slightly longer by extending the bumpers and having different lamps on the back and having different lamps on the front, and give it some more creases on the bonnet and the grille. Give it more of the British look about it. We like things that are British on this channel because we're men. It's a rare thing to see an 800 in black. What does it make you think of? That's right, it was a funeral director's car. And that means that it would have been meticulously cared for and not driven like somebody who's trying to evade the police. Rather than big flash alloys, it just has these 15-inch 195 65, which goes very nicely with the way the car should feel. Relaxed. That's what you want to be. I'm feeling jolly relaxed just looking at it. I'm starting to feel any stresses that I may be experiencing go away. What a smart looking motor. I should be embarrassed just to sit in it. Not because of the car, but because of me. But I'm not. I'm just not that kind of person. Naturally, being a man of a certain age, this is about as comfortable and relaxed as I could possibly be. You just don't get seats of this quality anywhere. They're supportive, they're soft. You can go on super long journeys and arrive there wishing the journey wasn't over. It's a Sterling model, which means it has full electrics everywhere. It has proper, comfortable leather seats and a leather steering wheel. And remarkably, it doesn't have a dash that's lifting, which, unfortunately, is a trait of these cars. This one has been sort of meticulously cared for. If you like to sit in the back of a car, the Rover 800 is perfect. They didn't make a big car that's got no rear leg room and then offer an extended version so they can take more money off of you. No, they just made it big in the first place, and that is with the front seat as far back as it will go, and there's still plenty of room. No wonder politicians like them. All of the luxuries available at the time for a Rover. So, electric seats, both of them are electric seats, lovely wood cappings everywhere, the courtesy lights, and a tin of sardines in the door pocket. Even more wood veneer and an automatic gearbox and air conditioning and a sport mode. Heated seats, electric boot release, it's even got climate control. But you know, the most amazing thing about this car that will probably actually help it sell is the mileage. 37,763 miles. That's the kind of mileage some cars clock up in 1 year. Only if they're doing some sort of endurance test, of course. Otherwise, that'd be rather stupid. Why would anybody put that kind of mileage on a car in 1 year? Oh yeah, unless we're doing an endurance test. But who does that for fun? I know what I'm going to do with my new car. I'm going to do an endurance test to see if I can break the record of how many miles done in 1 year. Now that is stupid. If we lift the boot, we find that it is big Oh, there's the head gasket. What, £1,000? Wow. £1,000 to do a head gasket in 2006. Wow. It was only 9 years old at the time as well. Anyway, so that's been done, so that's something that nobody ever has to worry about, ever, including me. Look at this! KV6, very early KV6, a 2.5 litre with 100 brake horsepower. Actually, rather than mumbling over that, I'm going to find out exactly what it is. I would say it's about 160 brake. I'm guessing. Why am I guessing? Just find out. That was easy. 173 brake horsepower with 240 Newton meters of torque. And it's nice to see an engine that looks like an engine. And it's something to look at rather than just a big plastic cover. Gas struts work. Just such a treat to drive an 800 again, especially one in this condition. The steering's really, really positive. I always remember the 800 as being one of those cars that kind of wallows around and doesn't really give you any sense of confidence, but I'm not getting that with this one. Not at all. It's just a lovely big wafting boat, but a boat that can go around corners, and that's an interesting thing that very rarely happens, except when you drive a Rover. I'm really selling the Rover. I love a Rover. Every time, I always think this, every time I drive a Rover, I think, I'd like to have one of those. Isn't it lucky that I do? But just not one of these. 2.5 litre V6 does sound really nice. It's the KV6 is considered to be one of the nicest sounding engines ever, and it still is. Although you do have to put your foot down and dump a whole load of fuel through the exhaust to really get that sensation. It's not really the kind of car that you're going to want to drive particularly fast anyway. It's just, although it can do it, it's just far too smooth and relaxed. It feels disrespectful. You just wouldn't want to do. You drive it as smoothly as possible until you do that. They had the same engine as this in the Rover 75 and the MG ZT. Oh, and the ZS. Not the 45 though. That was just a 2 litre version, which was really, really peaky. You're right. The clock is reading the correct time, and it's got an ashtray for people who like to use ashtrays, and most people did when this car was made, just not now. You know, if you smoke now, you're seen as some sort of criminal. But I do like to smoke around in this. This is fun. The automatic gearbox in this is really very, very smooth indeed, as you'd expect. You couldn't possibly have made a car like this with such nice suspension, with such nice seats, and sold it to Tony Blair without it having a nice gearbox as well. So it is silky and smooth. It's just so nice to drive such an old car where all of the electrics work. And if you didn't know, the 800 did suffer slightly with a few electrical gremlins. The fix has always been resolder the fuse box. But the extensive amount of paperwork with this car suggests that everyone who's owned this before, not been shy to get their hand in their wallet. And then we come to you, if you want to buy it, because you're going to have to be just as not afraid to dig deep into that recess of cash that you have knocking about. The Rover 800 is a rare car, but a car in this condition and in that colour and with a 2.5 litre V6 Sterling with that kind of mileage is not going to be a cheap car. But having said that, I wouldn't describe it as being expensive. £6,500. If you're interested, just contact me in the comments and I shall pass on his number. And with that, Thank you very much for watching. What was all that about? What's all that about? That's not relevant, is it? No! Bye-bye. That's it. Bit of moonlighting. Is it really moonlighting? No, no it's not, because I'm allowed to do what the bloody hell I like. And I shall do whatever I like, and I'm about to do that right now. So just stay listening. I reckon you'll sell this and wish you hadn't sold it. I do that with practically every car I've ever owned, except for the shit ones. A British... You're going to need a lot of it. You can't have this car for £1,000 or £2,000 or even £10,000. This is going up for £28,000. Hang on. In a black suit with a white shirt and a black tie and a moustache and hair that isn't as bad, fuck's sake, and hair that's not as scruffy as mine. The chap wants £6,500 for it. Not 6,499, 6,500. Or offers.